Who would you want to see for this Green Bay Packers team win training camp? The defense or the offense?
I want to see the defense win this training camp. First of all, I want to say I like how Matt LaFleur has created this competitive nature where one of the sides of the ball wins on any given day and the loser has to do push-ups. I like the competitive spirit and nature that Matt LaFleur is implementing in the Green Bay Packers. But guys, for my money, I will take the Green Bay Packer defense winning training camp of getting the best of the offense more often on any given day, and you leave training camp feeling better about the defense than you do about the offense. And here's why. Generally speaking, when it comes to a defense, there's not a lot of major strides you make throughout the season. You kind of see what you get pretty early on. Anytime that we had great teams, great defenses, you could see the seeds of it pretty early. If you had a bad defense, something that started or struggling, very rarely did it pick up throughout the end of the season. Makes a lot of sense, right? Because defense is more reactive, more like athletic, right? We were talking about you are the people reacting to what the offense is doing, less timing focused, more about what dudes do you have on your defense. So what you see is what you get when it comes to the defense. The offense, on the other hand, plenty of times, look at the Green Bay Packers last year, plenty of times the defense starts off slow, takes a minute to get its rhythm, takes a minute to find everyone to be comfortable in their role, and bam, it picks up midway through the season, a fourth of the way through the season, and hums for the rest of the year. That type of dynamic shift rarely occurs, and for the offense. And when it comes to the chance of this team winning the Super Bowl.
A lot of ands here.
And that's why I'm doubling down, giving you a compelling argument. I just want the Packers to have a nasty defense. I'm not going to lie. It has been too long that the Green Bay Packers defense has been an ongoing thorn in their sides. Now, you could argue that they weren't the reason why Aaron Rodgers, late in his career, bowed out of the playoffs. It was mostly him. I agree with that. But the last 30 years, the only time that they actually won a Super Bowl when they had studs on defense and they had a top 5 defense, and the Packers just are known for great quarterback play and great offense. The defense is always a liability. I'm sick of those days. I want a nasty defense when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. If this team can actually be a top 10 defense, top 5 defense, man, it's only a matter of time before they win a Super Bowl. Not if, but when. So I want to see the defense continue to gain momentum, gain culture, and gain an identity about who they are. The more I see the defense beat up on the offense throughout training camp, the more excited I get for the season.
800-990-3776 as we are in the heat of training camp right now. Outside, full pads, hot out there.
Great pun.
Thank you very much, Brad. Hot out there up at 1265 and the Hudson Center. And what's the field called? Help me, Strophe.
Nitschke Field?
Ray Nitschke Field. Who would you rather see win training camp, the offense or the defense? Brad says defense. Kyle, what say you?
I'm going for the offense, and why I'm going for the offense is a couple things. We saw how terrible this offense can be if you don't have a great quarterback in Jordan Love, right? Secondly, when you think about this defense, is everything that everybody is saying, whether it's Gilbert Brown, whether it's Santana Dotson, or anybody else in between, they believe that moving to the 4-3 defense is going to put guys like Kenny Clark in a better position to attack the football and be more aggressive. Put guys like Rashawn Gary, who we heard last week look like Superman during practice, in a better position to be successful. And then on top of that, this defense that we have, it is loaded with untapped potential.
So we think.
Untapped potential. So we think, and so we will find out. Offensively, the team ended the season really well, but they're yet to put together a complete season. Christian Watson is yet to have a full, healthy season, right? And so we are trying to find out what Jaden Reed looks like in year 2. We're trying to figure out if Tay Wicks can take a next step from a guy who didn't play too early in his career in the first 5-6 games to playing a pretty strong role at the end of the year to people saying he could be the next Devontae Adams. And so for me, I would rather see the offense continue to take strides and continue to take steps in the right direction by beating up on that defense. And in training camp, defense usually has the advantage because by week 2, week 3, they already know what the offense has. They already know when they see the receiver run a certain route. They already know what could be coming out of this formation. They've seen the same offense over and over and over again. And so what I want to see is I want to make sure that this offense, when they go up against this defense, they find success, they build their confidence. So I need this Green Bay Packers offense to come out of training camp saying, we finished the season strong, and we're starting this training camp strong as well. And once we go into preseason, the regular season, we're going to be humming, baby. That's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, defense does win championships, but you need to have a strong offense in order to win football games. And we saw that with the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl when it came down to it. They had a great quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. We have a great quarterback in Jordan Love. And it comes down to your offense making that play to win a football game, and the Packers need to start building that now.
I hear you, Kyle. I understand wanting to see the offensive side of the football continue to progress, but I think you said kind of the point I wanted to make is if you're a defense and you're seeing a lot of the same looks, right? You're in training camp, you're likely not going to trick your own defense. Like they know a lot more about the offense than other teams you will go against in those 17 games will. Mm-hmm. So if you are getting beat up by the offense, running the same stuff that you know is coming, that's bad. That's bad for a team that is just thirsty to be a top 10 defense. And when I say thirsty, I think I speak more from the fan perspective, because the fans have been asking this defense to be something for so long. And it's been proven that when the Green Bay Packers have a great defense, it is probably the missing cog of how they will make a deep playoff run. It will help them, right? Like that's why it sucks looking back in the past, because when the defense did play well against Tom Brady in the second half, it was the offense in a year that they set records in 2020 that they hosted in 2021 playoffs against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The offense let them down. But my point is, you know what we saw last year in the Super Bowl? We saw two really good teams, two offensive juggernauts in the San Francisco 49ers, and I guess the Chiefs weren't that great offensively. But my point is, when you have Patrick Mahomes, both of those defenses, that Super Bowl was boring as hell until the fourth quarter.
3/4 of the game was all defense. 3/4 of the game was
all defense. And so if you can get this defense going and it starts right now, you know what the potential is of Jordan Love. You know what the potential is of the offense, Josh Jacobs, knowing that you always figure out the offensive line, knowing that you've had wide receivers like this continue to shine as they, get an opportunity in their third, fourth year. That's usually when wide receivers start to click historically with the Green Bay Packers. So I'm going to trust that the offense will continue to develop under an offensive-minded head coach. I want to see what has been the Achilles heel step up from day one and here forward.
This defense performing well in training camp means nothing until the season starts, right? Because what we know from this offense, if they can keep cooking and humming during the training camp, we believe that they can carry that momentum into the season. If the defense sits there and beats up on the offense, and then week one they allow for Jalen Hurts to go for 100 yards on the ground and allow 30-some points, we're all going to be sitting here, well, they played well in training camp. No, the offense, I want them to be playing well in training camp, and I need that defense to show that they can consistently be a high-performing team when it truly matters, and that's during the regular season.
But I'm confident that if the offense the first couple of weeks looks a little bit rusty, I'm confident that Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love will get the boys going and get them rolling when they need to. If the defense doesn't look good during training camp and the first couple of weeks of the season they look bad, my hope is going to go fast. I have no hope that's going to be turned around. The highest vibes are right now. The healthiest is right now. And the defense, it's more stable with how they perform. There's very rarely large swings in defensive performances, unlike offense.
And you know what else can happen? Whether we want to talk it into existence or not, what has happened when the defense has done poorly? Chemistry, locker room, Jair.
Unfolds.
This defense needs to get off on a good start now until the start of the season, because I don't want to deal with, oh, man, this defense, making excuses. We were in a 3-4, and now we're at a 4-3, and we're still trying to pick it up. I don't need any of those excuses.
I feel like
it's time to put up or shut up.
I feel like every training camp I hear about how this defense is going to be this much better. I remember 2 seasons ago, everybody's talking about this might be a dark horse defense that's going to be really, really good.
It wasn't dark horse. It was Mina Kimes on ESPN predicting them to be the second best defense in the NFL.
And what did it do?
Tough scene with Joe Barry as a DC.
No, it absolutely flopped, right? And so that's why I have to see. I can't judge what I believe on this defense off of their performance during training camp. I can only solely judge them off of what they do during the regular season. So I can get excited about, Rashawn Gary getting all these sacks. That means nothing until Rashawn Gary is harassing quarterbacks week 1 through week 17 through week 18. That's when it matters. So Jair Alexander is blanketing receivers and taking out number ones the entire season next year.
I need him doing it to Romeo Doubs now.
Until they
He can't stop Romeo Doubs. I'm not going to trust him to stop Justin Jefferson.
Until they do it during the regular
DJ Moore,
season,
Keenan Allen.
means nothing. That's what matters to me is I need to see them perform in the regular season. I want this offense to flex their muscle now because I know they'll flex their muscle during the regular season because that means something to me, whereas in training
camp was invaluable for Jordan Love when he missed 4 days of practice, but for the defense, it means nothing, according to Kyle Wallace.
Don't you think you need to see the defense have success in training camp to carry that over to the season?
They're going to battle. They're going to have their back and forth, right? But at the end of the day, even if the defense performs well during training camp against the Packers offense, I have to see what they do on the field because when I go off historically speaking, the Green Bay Packers defense has been the Achilles heel for this team. And we know in the past we've been hyped up on this team during training camp before, and they absolutely were a dud during the regular season versus where the offense, we know this Green Bay Packers offense, and we know what they can be. So whether or not they don't do well or they do great during this training camp, I know that offense is going to show up for us. The defense, not so much.